Everyone, welcome back. In today's video, we will be making one of the easiest cocktails there is to make, the gin and tonic. So we're going to make the cocktail, we're going to talk about its structure, and stay tuned to the very end because we will be using that structure to make even more fancy and elaborate versions of the gin and tonic. Hi, I'm Chris from A Bar Above. I'm a 15-year veteran of the bar and somebody that loves making fun and creative cocktails. So we're going to make the gin and tonic here in a second, but before we do, let's talk about the basic structure of the gin and tonic. Now, at its core, a gin and tonic is simply just a highball style cocktail. Now, what I mean by that is you have a base spirit, gin in this case, you have a mixer, tonic water, and it's generally served with a piece of fruit as a garnish, traditionally lime in this case. Now there are many different popular versions of highballs out there, everything from a Cuba Libre to a Paloma to a Jack and Coke. All can be considered part of that highball style family. Now one of my favorite variations of the highball happens to be root beer and green chartreuse. If you have not had that combination, I highly recommend it. It is mind-blowingly good. Now, maybe we'll make that video for you in the future, but today, let's go ahead and make a pretty standard gin and tonic. To make a gin and tonic, we're just gonna go ahead and build everything in our glass. So this would be considered a built style cocktail. So we're gonna start off with our gin. And we're gonna pour it right into our glass here. Next, I'm going to go ahead and add my tonic water in and add it to about halfway up the glass. This might not be a traditional way of preparing this cocktail, but this is the one I always go to. Finally, I'm just going to go ahead and top it with a little bit of ice. Add my straw to give it a stir to mix those ingredients. And for the garnish, we are simply going to do a lime wedge. Goes right on the side. There we have it. Pretty standard gin and tonic. Now let's go ahead and try the gin and tonic. Now, many of you have probably already had this cocktail, so you know exactly what it tastes like, but I'll describe a little bit for anybody that hasn't. So usually what you do is you just grab the lime, you give it a good squeeze, and the lime is really here to add another flavor, as well as offset some of the sweetness that is in the tonic water. So let's give it a try. It's good, nice, refreshing, a little bitterness from the tonic water. Definitely get the gin in there. The lime definitely helps to cut through that. It is a nice, refreshing summer cocktail. Now let's make a little bit more of a complex version of the standard gin and tonic. So we're gonna go ahead and use the same exact techniques of adding it right into the glass, making it a built drink, but we're gonna apply one simple technique, and that is a split base. So we're gonna sub out some of the gin that we're using in gin and tonic, and we're gonna use Luxardo to replace it and add some additional sweetness as well. So we're gonna go ahead and build it right in our glass. Then we're gonna add our Luxardo Maraschino liqueur. And once again, we're going to top off with our tonic water, about halfway up the glass. Then we're going to add our ice. And now, since this is a bit more of an elevated style gin and tonic, let's go ahead and elevate the garnish with it as well. So what I'm going to do is simply peel some of this cucumber and I'm going to add it to my glass and give it a little bit more character. And with cucumber, I always love adding a little bit of salt right to the top, as well as some fresh crushed pepper. And there we have it, an elevated gin and tonic. Now let's give our elevated gin and tonic a taste, shall we? Oh man, that is nice, refreshing. That Luxardo really fills out and gives it a nice, rich mouthfeel. This is a really delicious version of a gin and tonic. But I think we can go even fancier than this. Now, there has been a pretty significant movement behind the gin and tonic in Europe where they take that spirit or that cocktail and really elevate it based off of the botanicals and the ingredients in there. So let's go ahead and make kind of the European style of elevated gin and tonics next. So to make a more elevated European style gin and tonic, we're going to use really fancy kind of visual elements for it. So instead of our traditional Collins or highball, we're going to use a really beautiful wine glass here. And we're just going to do the same process of building all of our flavors in the glass we're going to drink out of. So similar to our previous gin and tonics, we're going to go ahead and build everything right in the glass here. So for this one, I'm using one gin with a little bit more flavor. This is a basil and elderflower style gin. And so we're looking at those ingredients to really reinforce it when we go to garnish this drink as well. Now to that, we're going to add some Chirot. This is kind of like an aloe flavored liqueur, and it is very delicious. So that'll go right in there as well. Once again, we're going to add our tonic. And I'm going to start building my ice in here as well. So my ice, because then I'm going to start layering in some of those visual elements on the garnish side as well also. So we're going to add some floral elements in there. So with some edible flowers. I'm going to push those in. And you just want to layer this throughout the entire glass. Chirot has kind of this herbal aloe kind of quality, so I'm going to add the cucumber back into it. Let's do a simple ribbon. And finally, we're going to go ahead and put a basil sprig with the basil flowers right on top. And this definitely needs a little hit of lime juice, so we're just going to add that right on the top. Like a 1/4 ounce is all you need. Once again, a little salt, some fresh pepper, and now you have a really beautiful European style gin and tonic. So now let's go ahead and try the European style gin and tonic. That is delicious. Holy cow. Very fresh, very floral. That gin is really aromatic, and the ingredients that goes with it really reinforces it. That is a delicious gin and tonic. So now let's talk about how they all kind of compare to each other. I'll start at the beginning here. The gin and tonic. It is the standard quintessential gin and tonic. Sit this by the pool and it is absolutely delicious. Nice, light, refreshing, a little bit of bitterness with that tonic, but this is something that you could drink a lot of all day long. It is a great, great cocktail. Now, when it compares to the one here with the Luxardo and the cucumber, you definitely get a lot more fresh cucumber flavors here. The Luxardo definitely has some of that pepper notes in there as well. Much bigger, richer mouthfeel and a lot more flavor than our standard gin and tonic. Now, when it comes to the European style gin and tonic, for me, this is the best. This has a lot of different flavors, a lot of different aromatics. We're really building upon what is already in this glass, and it is visually stunning as well. So these are 3 different styles of gin and tonics you can easily make at your house. There we have it. We have made the classic and venerable gin and tonic, as well as 2 modified versions of it as well. Now, the big takeaway from this video is once you understand the structure of the cocktail you're working with, you can apply some pretty simple techniques and elevate and take that cocktail to the next level. So we know you've watched videos like this in the past. You know exactly what we're going to ask you to do. Hit the like, subscribe, and the bell icon, and you will get notified anytime we release cocktail videos similar to this. Until then, I hope you are enjoying your favorite version of the gin and tonic. Cheers.